you know a lot about Green Bay, and I was talking to somebody that covers the Packers the other day, and I said, for 3 years, we had more video on Bigfoot than Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And then his first 5 games, he was kind of awful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he had an 8-game heater last year. Why? Well, what do you think? If a wide receiver came into the league and had the drops, Cooper Kupp his first year had drops.
Yeah.
And you could say,
that happens.
You still like,
yeah.
But we all knew he was getting open a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great route runner. Young receivers can struggle, but you can go, that's going to work.
No doubt.
5 weeks in, I wasn't sure.
We were all scratching our heads.
I didn't think it was going to work.
Yeah.
Your sources, your friends close to Jordan Love, what's flipped?
Well, so the main thing was it was peanut butter jelly. It was real plain first 5 weeks, right?
You kept saying that.
Yeah, let's try to get this
Let him loose.
Yeah, let's try to get this young fella, acclimated to the game, the speed of the game. Let's condense this plan, you know what I mean? And that wasn't helping him. Because when you condense a plan and you have a defense that's throwing all this stuff at you, a condensed plan on the offensive side is not going to help. Your first read is not going to be there. So now what are you going to do? Coach LaFleur opened the playbook for Jordan Love. Okay, man, you've been around under Aaron for a couple years now. You've been in my system for a couple years now. Why am I dumbing this thing down? You know the plays like the back of your hand. You've been in it. Yeah, you haven't had a lot of game experience, but you have ran these plays. And he opened the plan up. And once he opened the plan up, then Jordan Love started to take off. And when Jordan Love started to take off, Jordan Love started to get more comfortable, and then Jordan Love started to play outside the X's and O's.
And that's kind of – I contend he's more Favre than Aaron.
No doubt. No doubt.
Aaron was very precise. Jordan's not always precise. Favre wasn't always precise. By the way, Mahomes' early years wasn't precise. A lot of these guys are paint by numbers.
Yep.
Brady was a lot of that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, it would be like telling Kobe Bryant, there's 4 plays you can run.
Yeah.
You're taking an artist and saying, you got to stay spilling paint.
Can't do that.
You know what I mean? Like Randy Moss sometimes, I'm like, fella, get open.
Yeah. Can't do that. Or with Randy Moss, hey, I am open, even if it's 3 people. Throw it up over there, and I'll make you right. And I think that's what Jordan Love did, especially that 8-game span. He let Coach LaFleur know, no matter what play you call, I got it, and I'm going to play outside the X's and O's. When you watch Jordan Love play, it's so many plays that you could touch on, and you could be watching him play, and you could say, oh, my goodness, this dude is going to be like that. And I think that playing outside the X's and O's, once he got comfortable and started to take off, that's what you've seen. And you started to see a young superstar emerge. Jordan Love is going to be a really good football player. But early in the season, it was really plain. And you cannot do that. I understand you're trying to slow it down. But I don't know if people understand. When you're in training camp and you're putting in install 1, right, for offense, it's like 6, 7 plays, really plain, right? The defense already got cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, all that in, right? So as an offense, we're coming out there and we like the first couple of days of training camp, the offense looks terrible because we are really playing and you guys have a lot of stuff in already. Once we start catching up, we in install 5 now. We got these bunch formations and these motions and all that, and y'all got to talk and communicate and do all that. Then we start having extra days. So, with Jordan Love, it started out really plain. Once Coach LaFleur said, okay, eventually we got to see if this dude could really do it, if he could really play, if we're going to really give him this money. The playbook is yours. This is what we're running. This is the scheme for this week. Let's go. And the young fella took off.
So you've been in –
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how in all sports, really, definitely baseball, basketball, and obviously football, as he was just kind of saying, the offense is always behind the defense at the start of the season. Training camp practices, whatever it may be, as well as if you're a young rookie or just starting to actually get legitimate playing time, that offense aspect of your game will just lag for various reasons. So it's always interesting to me that's such like a kind of like a universal constant. But the real reason why I wanted to highlight this clip more than anything is because credit has to be given where credit is due, and that's with James Jones. Obviously, he's a Packer. Previous Packers, so he's going to come to bat for the Packers and Jordan Love. But, Colin was railing against Jordan Love constantly saying he's not the guy, he's not the guy, he's not the guy. He's been saying that for years, honestly. And again, he changed his mind, and he also gets credit for that. This is not meant to pull down Colin at all, because I love that Colin is more than willing to change his mind. But I didn't have any reason to believe in Jordan Love, especially before last year. And, he kept saying there's no film of it, there's nothing, you're hearing nothing, he's not good. And I have nothing to do. I watch these shows too, and sometimes you have to just kind of trust what you hear. I'm like, well, Colin gets to talk to these guys. He's actually literally sitting next to them, and he talks to GMs and all this. And so I was like, yeah, Jordan Love is I guess not the guy. He's not a good quarterback. If he was, they would have moved on from Aaron already. He's not good. And James Jones just always pushed back, always, and was like, he is that guy. Not only have I seen it with my own eyes, but also like the other players who I talk to, they see it as well. He is that guy. And even during those first 5 weeks, he was still like, I wish I could go back and try to find it. But he was just like, he is that guy, because Colin would try to lead it and say, Jordan Love's not the guy, right? And he would immediately push back. And it felt very authentic. It wasn't like just, oh, well, of course he's going to say something positive, it's the Packers. Or it wasn't like, oh, well, you know what, he wants to be a more player positive type of media analyst, right? Because you have some people who are in the media who are ex-players, and they never want to say anything negative about the players. And I understand that. It's got to be like a weird transition for them. But it just felt truly authentic. And that's when I was just like, all right, I'm going to like lean on this. I'm going to lean on him more as a resource here. And it feels like maybe, there is something there with Jordan Love. It's just they haven't unraveled it. They just haven't unpacked that package just yet. And he brings up such a fascinating point, because I'm such a fan of simplifying things and simplifying playbooks, especially when the team is top level. And I think that's probably where maybe my mindset went with the Packers, because they're so young. And so they aren't next level. So a simplified playbook in that regard won't necessarily help a quarterback. I think in certain offenses and with obviously certain personnel, depending on who your quarterback is, a simplified playbook can get you really far. And it's actually when you start to kind of open it up and complicate things, that's when things can kind of go disarray. But it's just interesting that with Jordan Love, a more simplified approach was actually holding him back. And I wish they would unpack that a little bit more. If that was more just because of what makes Jordan Love special and a better, smoother operator is having more diversity in that and having a more open playbook, or was it just more of the personnel that they had at the time and how would it be? Because I think, like, for instance, with the 49ers, a simplified playbook, it can be very straightforward for the 49ers, and that can lead. I mean, they've done it. We've seen that not only with Purdy, but with Garoppolo. Like, you can have just because something is simplified doesn't mean that it's still not innovative. It doesn't mean that the play design is still not unique and interesting and scheming guys open. It can still be very simplified and straightforward. So don't confuse simplified with basic and kind of elementary. It's just simplified. It's just such a fascinating thing that was kind of something that was holding back the Packers. And it's funny because a lot of Packers fans, anytime I do a Jordan Love video we talk about, and anytime someone mentions that he's only had 10 good games or whatever the actual final number ended up being and how he got off to a slow start, a lot of Packers fans jump in the comments and are immediately like, that's nonsense. Stop putting that on Jordan Love. It was also Matt LaFleur, bad play calling, bad whatever. And it just seems that there may be more truth to that than even I initially realized, quite honestly. It's like I'd have to really go back and look and see how those games unfolded, because truthfully, I don't really remember. I honestly really don't. It's hard when you have some of these more like average basic games, like in week 4, week 3, they just don't stick out. They don't stick out. So it is something that I kind of do want to go back and look for, but I think it's really exciting where the Packers are going with Jordan Love. And I think that's also partially why you can feel so optimistic about Jordan Love, because he doesn't need a simplified playbook to thrive. And when you do have a simplified playbook and a simplified attack at the offense, that's when when people say, oh, now they have film on this quarterback, he's going to backtrack, or he's not going to be as good. That's when that can actually be more relevant. When a quarterback is only thriving in a more simplified offense and they struggle to open up the playbook, and that's why, and a coach knows that. That's why the coach is keeping it all simplified. That's when people can get tape and they're like, well, listen, they're just only doing A, B, C, D. As long as we cover A, B, C, D, we got this quarterback locked and loaded, right? That's when that can hurt you. That does not appear to be what's going to be an issue with Jordan Love. So, because there's the big, what are the prevailing opinions out there these days is Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, for that matter, that this next season, this coming season, they're going to potentially not be as good as they were last season because film on them. And I've pushed back on that extensively. And to me, this kind of maps out. This is just another check in that box to say, for a reason why I don't think that'll be the case. So I really am excited. The Packers are definitely one of the top teams, especially Jordan Love individually, are easily going to be one of my top teams that I just really want to make sure that I watch like as many games as I can, because it just seems like the potential there is just through the roof. And honestly, and a lot of times the most exciting is right before, right? It is right before that potential of what's going to happen. I just feel that the Packers are just, I feel like they're ready. Like they want to get out there and do damage this season. I don't think they're here to mess around anymore. I don't think they're here to explore and figure stuff out. They are there to win. They are ready to win. They know what's at stake. They know what they're capable of doing. They know that there's some of these other teams that are also building something and are trying to get there as well. And it's like the time is now. Like seriously, like it right now for the Packers, you can make the argument this season and maybe next season are the two best years to win, because now some of these other teams that are behind them can't necessarily catch up just yet. And so it's like right now, let's go. And I feel like the Packers know that. And I feel like Jordan Love knows that as well. And that's why he's like, give me my money. Like, give me my money now. We're not playing these games. Just give me my money, and then we're going to cruise. Let's go. And as I said in my previous Packers video, the Packers are in a position to build a dynasty. I'm not saying they obviously are a dynasty, but to me, that's what's at stake. If they do this all right, dynasty. If they kind of just get it pretty good, a Super Bowl win or two. And if they mess it up, then it's like you messed up a beautiful opportunity. So, but I don't think the Packers will do that. They're obviously a very highly run franchise, so I'm excited. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Jordan Love will be paid like a top-tier quarterback? And what do you think about what James Jones was saying about the simplified playbook actually holding back Jordan Love? And it wasn't until they opened it up that they were able to actually kind of start to do some damage. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.